In this tutorial I will give a quick overview of the recently released FXEditor tool. FXEditor is a tool which you can use to edit your special effects for Flight Simulator. In this tutorial I'm first going to cover how the user interface works, and then I will give a few quick examples of what you can do with it. So the user interface has two main areas. Here on the left, the white part is a text editor, and the special effect file will be shown here, and you can type in this box to change the parameters, for example. And on the right side, the blue box, that's the 3D preview, and that will show a rendering of the special effect. And this will be updated while you're typing in the text editor. At the top there are a number of buttons, and I will quickly talk you over what they are doing. New is used to create a new empty effect file. Open opens an effect file from disk. Save and Save As allow you to save it again. With the Restart Effect button you can restart the 3D rendering of the effect. Some effects run endlessly, but others only run for a limited time, and then with this button you can restart them to see them again. Mute sound. It does what it says. It can mute the sound. When there's a sound file specified in the effect, the FXEditor tool will play that sound as well. But if you get bored of hearing the sound all the time, you can mute it with this button. And the Fade Particles button determines if the particles are fading in and out as they do in Flight Simulator. Sometimes it can be useful to disable the fading so that you can see what's happening. For example, how long the particle is really existing. And then the last option here in the menu is the options, and when you click on that you get the possibility to set the path to Flight Simulator 2004 or Flight Simulator X, and also specify which of those two versions is your preferred version. This preferred version is, for example, used for loading sound files from the Flight Simulator sound folder. Good, enough talking about the user interface, let's get started. So I'm going to open an effect here, and then you get an impression of how it works. And I'll take the barnstorm effect with the chicken. Well, you could hear the chicken there in the background. That's the sound effect playing. On the left, you now see the text of the effect with all the properties that you can manipulate. And on the right, you quickly saw the preview. So if I click the mute sound button now and do restart effect, we will see it again, but then without the sound of the chicken. This is maybe not an effect that you would want to alter a little bit or manipulate, so let's load another one and show you what kind of tweaking you can do. So I'm going to open the default smokestack effect file here, and in the preview you already see the smoke appearing. And for this kind of effects we might want to change the color of the smoke, because this is quite dark smoke, while maybe you're more looking for some lighter smoke for your chimney. So if I scroll down to the particle attributes section of the effect file, you see that there's a start and an end color defined there. And by increasing their value, we're going to make this effect a bit lighter. And you already see that while I'm typing the new values here in the text editor, the effect in the 3D preview is restarted with the new attributes, and now you see that I have not the almost black smoke, but I have a much more light gray smoke. If you want, you can also make it all kind of fancy colors. You can make a purple effect or a pink effect or whatever you want. Something else that you might want to do, and for which the preview is useful, is alter the dynamics of the effect. So maybe you find the color fine, but the smoke effect should be taller and more narrow. One way to do that would be to increase the velocity with which the particles are emitted. So let's just double the velocity in the y direction, which is the upward direction in Flight Simulator. And you see in the preview already that now the smoke effect is much taller. Well, that's just two of the many things that you can do with this kind of editor. I'll leave it to you to experiment with the rest. I hope you get an idea of how it works. Before we end this tutorial, I want to show one more thing. The two effects I opened now are like normal effect files, but Flight Simulator also has controller effect files, which call other effect files again. So let me open one of those as an example, and I'll pick the the lightning fire effect. You see the explosion of lightning hitting the ground, and then you see a number of fires appear. Also, this kind of effect you can manipulate in this editor. Here you see the different effect files that are being called. They have an offset in time. Also, that kind of effects can be tweaked with this editor.